But next up we have Rosa Lima, who is, you guys, she is a warrior. She's a beautiful, amazing spirit. She is just a rock star, a warrior. She has been fighting the biggest fight and just continuing to shine so bright. I'm going to let her tell her story, but she's an 11-star coach, has been coaching for 4 years, two-time elite coach, and just one of the most beautiful-hearted people I've ever met. So excited to hear your story here, Kim, and then I'm going to pass the screen over to you, and then I've got your slide up too when you're ready for me to pop over there.
Okay. Well, thank you. I love being a part of this. I think it's awesome, and I'm seeing like the boards, everybody really enjoying it. And so the fact that we all came together like literally days before Christmas is amazing, and we're still, learning from each other. So my name is Kim Lima. I'm 45 years old, and ironically, I got involved with Beachbody and becoming a coach because my own mother got diagnosed with breast cancer literally the day after I turned 40 years old. And I had two little boys at home, and that was like really eye-opening to me that my mom could get sick and that I had little boys. And so it's a little ironic that 4 years later that I would be the person who came down with breast cancer. And so I found a lump about a week before Summit, and it was a really tiny lump, but it was still enough to kind of scare the bejesus out of me. After Summit, came back, went to get it checked out. Everybody told me they thought it was fine. We could monitor it or we could take it out. So I said, hey, let's just take it out. They took it out and they said, hey, we don't think this is anything. And then meanwhile, I got a call back 2 days later, and she's like, you have cancer. You have breast cancer. And I was like, what? Like, I was driving when she called me. And my husband and I went in the next day, and I was diagnosed with stage 1 invasive ductal breast cancer. And it was a complete shock because I literally was the healthiest I had ever been. I had just lost 20 pounds. I had changed my diet over. I had did the ultimate reset. And so that was kind of like oh my goodness. And I think that there's probably a lot of you watching that are having health issues or things that happen, and it kind of makes you want to take a step back from coaching. And I will tell you that you need to lean in. And one of the reasons you need to lean in is because we have a product that, for me, I understand it to be life-changing and life-saving for me. I feel like Shakeology for me has aided me in my cancer journey, pre, during, and post. And so the best way to explain types of cancer, it's kind of like diamonds, like carrots. And so cancer can come in different forms. It can come, low grade and high grade, and there's different, alphabets to describe it. And so the best way to describe mine cancer was that it was a low grade, meaning that my cancer cells were pretty lazy. They didn't want to multiply. They didn't want to attack any other tissue. And I really, truly feel that because of my prolonged use of Shakeology, that's why I had those type of cancer cells. I'm only 45 years old. Most women who are 45 years old get very aggressive cancers. They have high grade of cancers. Their cells are multiplying, they're moving, they're metastasizing. And so I know for a fact, for my own self, and then talking with my oncologist, that I feel like that's why the type of cancer I have, because the cancer I have is usually found in like 70-year-old women. It's actually not even found in a lump. And so I really feel like instead of being like, I'm so healthy, why did I get cancer? I really feel like I do think that cancer is just something that happened in my life, and it was going to happen regardless. And so 4 years ago, in deciding to get healthy, drink Shakeology, created this situation so that I could fight it, I could be, and actually heal myself from it. And so during cancer treatment, I've had 2 surgeries. I had a lumpectomy, and then I had 2 of my lymph nodes removed, which, thank goodness, there was no cancer found in my lymph nodes. I was able to rebound from those surgeries really, really quickly, to the point that I was doing push-ups in core de force like 2 weeks after that. And even my doctors were like, I can't believe your body healed that quickly. And I just explained to them what I do, how I eat, what's in Shakeology. I would tell you, if you're somebody that is experiencing health issues and you find yourself in doctor's offices, wear your wear and share. I would wear a 21-day fix. I would wear my Shakeology shirt, and you have no idea when you go in, the nurses are like, what's Shakeology? Or I heard about the 21-day fix. And you have to understand, I went into these appointments thinking I'm the sick girl, and I wound up telling them like how amazing this product is. And I actually have 2 of the nurses who actually became Shakeology customers because we started talking like about the fact that they don't go to the bathroom and, and they can't get away from sugar and things like that. And so you might be in a stage right now where you're having an illness or you're having some sort of health issue, but it doesn't mean that you need to take a step back from coaching and take a step back from being confident in knowing that these products work. And so after I had my lumpectomy, I chose to do radiation, which is a conventional treatment. I chose to do a shorter radiation treatment. And if you don't know what radiation is, most of the time people can get burns on their skin. They're exhausted. They sit you down before they do it, and they tell you, they give you this whole thing. And I just remember sitting there thinking, it's not going to apply to me. And throughout treatment, I had no burns. I finished core de force while doing radiation. And actually, it was my first week of radiation. I did week 3 of core de force, which I think is the hardest one. I was not tired. I did not have that sense of tiredness that most people have with radiation. And what I'm going to talk to you about a little bit later about the herbs, it'll make sense why I didn't have that overwhelming tiredness, why my skin was able to be protected. And then it's also helped me post. Knock wood, I'm going to knock wood. I am cancer-free. I am done treatment. And hopefully I will live a long life. And as my oncologist said, Kim, we're going to cure you. We're not just going to treat you. And so it's really helped me with my immunity. It's helped me build back my body, because radiation is pretty rough on your system. And so it's allowed me to kind of build back. I actually already see my muscle tone coming back in my body when I work out. And so throughout all phases of this, I know Shakeology has been a godsend. And so the next thing I wanted to talk to you about is my oncologist. My oncologist is one of the best in the country. And I will tell you very quickly, it's very interesting because we tell you to invite. The person who got me the appointment with this, one of the best oncologists in the country, was somebody I invited to a challenge group. And she was drinking Shakeology. And so it's amazing that 6 months later, this person who I was brave enough to say, hey, you should do this, was the person who actually got me an appointment with this oncologist. And I went in there with my packet. And I think it was Courtney that said, you go to the doctor and you're like automatically going to think the doctor's going to be like, you can't drink that. And she looked at it and she's like, I think that this is perfect for you to drink. I think that there's nothing in there that's going to interfere with your treatments. And I do not think that there's anything in there that could have created cancer, because that was something my husband said. My husband's like, oh my God, what if people think that because you drank Shakeology, it caused cancer and stuff? And I was like, well, then I need to address that. I need to talk about that. And what my oncologist said is, she's like, you know, you've been doing all this stuff, and it's really put you in the best scenario for somebody having cancer. What's also interesting is that she was so impressed with everything that she's like, you know, once you heal, once you get past your own journey, I want to bring you back, and I want you to start working with a lot of women who have cancer, who, you know, to say that, you know, they can't lose weight or their body doesn't rebound and things like that. She was like, because I think they can be, you can be helpful. And so I really just wanted to, I don't want to give you a science lesson, but I do a lot of alternative treatments along with conventional cancer treatments. I have a naturopath that I work with. And honestly, I think that this whole thing has been so eye-opening maybe for a lot of you, because I didn't really get into the nitty-gritty of how amazing this shake is. I just like that I wasn't falling asleep at 3 o'clock as a mom. And then you get something life-threatening like cancer, and you start doing research, and you start finding out herbs that can, you know, prevent cancer cells or keep you from a reoccurrence. And you're like, oh my goodness, they're already in the shake. And so, you know, just herbs like moringa, you know, they've tested it in a Korean study that it induces cancer death. It also has been proven that it makes, that it's been more effective than chemotherapy. Now, you know, like other people have said, please talk to your doctor. I'm not a doctor. This is my story. And I even put on my slide that the FDA has not approved any of this and stuff. But these are just studies about the herbs that are in Shakeology. Chlorella detoxifies heavy metals, takes heavy metals out of your system. And how that helped me in my treatment is I'm getting radiation in my body. And yes, I need the radiation to kill any lingering cancer cells, but I don't want the radiation to take over my healthy cells. And so what that does is it allows that radiation that you don't want in your body to detoxify it so that you have less side effects. It also supports your immune system. A lot of people, when they undergo chemotherapy or radiation, they can get sick very easily. You're in a hospital most of the time. I actually did come down with a cold and literally only kind of stayed down with it for 12 hours. And so I know that that is just my immune system being backed up. The reishi mushrooms, they again stimulate your immune system so that it's working. Ashwagandha also slows down cancer cell growth. You have green tea in there, which green tea has been shown to actually prohibit the formation of cancer cells. It can kill cancer cells. Spirulina helps the body get magnesium. And if you've done any kind of research about why women get breast cancer, they lack magnesium in their body, they lack vitamin D. And so that allows your body to kind of absorb it. It helps toxins not to collect in your system. And it's also been proven to reduce tumor masses. Cordyceps, it increases your T helper cells. A lot of people talk about cancer being an immune disorder, so that your immune system isn't working properly, and your T cells are those helper cells, and so that increases it. And it's also been proven to help tolerate the rigors of chemotherapy and radiation. And so I actually didn't get this information from Beachbody. I got this information from different cancer alternative treatments, conventional cancer treatment places like Sloan Kettering and things like that. And so to me, throughout this journey of now being a cancer survivor, it's made me almost a little embarrassed that I was so shy about how really life-changing and amazing this is. And I know that there's probably people listening right now that might have a health crisis come up, or maybe perhaps you're in it right now. And I tell you, lean in. because there are people out there that need you. Don't feel like because, currently you're under treatment or you have an issue, this is the time that you need to lean in.
Oh, Kim, I wish I could just reach through and give you a big hug. I'm glad you kept talking because I was crying there for a little bit. But I remember when you first got that diagnosis and you shared the mastermind, and I remember crying then and just praying, and you were like, nobody needs to cry for me. This is not going to defeat me. This will not define me. I'm going to kick this butt. And you've had that like champion spirit since then. And I mean, and you've done that. And all of this was such amazing knowledge. And you took the words right out of my mouth there at the end. Like, how can we not share this? I think if you don't know someone who's struggling with cancer or chronic illness or some sort of autoimmune, like, then you've got a really healthy community. But I've already shared your story with people I love that are battling cancer or have overcome it, and so inspired by you. I'm so happy, and thank you so much for sharing that. That was amazing.